Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Daily Betslip. I'm joined by a special guest right at the top of the show, Joe Osborne at JTFOZ, wearing a very interesting outfit today. I like it.
Trying
Joe,
to
how are
bring
you
a
doing?
little bit of sex appeal to the program here. Ian, this is after hours for me, bud. So this is how I dress when I'm not in the office. And I'm happy to join you.
Yeah, and you are the third straight Joe guest that we've had on. We had Joe Ostrowski last Thursday, Joe Fan on Monday, Joe Osborne today. Joe, where would you power rank yourself amongst the Joes in the sports betting world?
Well, I try to be modest, so I'd say we're all tied for first.
All right, I like it. Maybe Joe Madden might be in that mix too, eh?
Joe Madden. You can get former Toronto Blue Jay Joe Carter on your program, maybe. You see him on the wall behind me. The 93 World Series, the Blue Jays franchise still dining out on that. Every chance they get, they're celebrating their back-to-back World Championships from the early 90s, but hopefully they can put that behind them and pick up a ring this year, right?
What about Joe Biagini? I know you're a big Joe Biagini guy.
Joe Biagini? Biagini? Yeah, he's not bad. I'd pay for his autograph.
All right, jam-packed show today. We got picks later on in the show. Donnavan will join me at the 15-minute mark. Donnavan Smoot will talk. We'll give out the community picks that were sent in to us today, our best bets for the night, and we'll end off the show with game of the night, which is the Cardinals and the Brewers. But, Joe, with you on the show here, we are going to talk about the two teams that are featured actually on everyone's screens right now. I'm wearing – this was not planned. I'm wearing a Blue Jays shirt. You are wearing some Dolphins gear.
1-0.
1-0. We are going to talk about that. Your reaction about their Week 1 win over the Patriots, your pick and thoughts about their Week 2 game against the Ravens here. Ben Heisler just chimed in really quick. Can our viewers pick the next Joe that joins the show? Even if it's Joey Bag of Donuts, we got to bring him on. I think I'm just going to make it so every guest the entire football season is going to be a Joe. I think I'll just stick to that.
Joey Fatone from NSYNC. Remember him? Get him on. I don't know if he knows sports at all, but I'm sure that he'd bring a lot of viewers with him, right? Yeah, absolutely.
So please, viewers, drop in the chat. Which Joe should we bring on the show next? Maybe Joe Mama. All right, moving on.
I don't know who that is, Ian. I got no reaction for you, bud.
All right, let's talk Toronto Blue Jays, Joe. Yeah. They got a game today against the Rays, but first, let's look at some futures. What are they right now? 5.5 games back of the Yankees, I believe, in the AL East. So they're 17-1. 6 games back of the Yankees are now 17-1 to win the AL East. Do they have any chance in the world of catching the Yankees in the AL East?
I would say no. There's just, not enough time left in the season. You also have the Rays in the mix as well, right? So it's not like the Jays have a cakewalk of a regular season ahead of them here. So, no, that's too big of a gap to make up. But if the Blue Jays and the Yankees were in a playoff series, I would take the Blue Jays as an underdog, which they would be any day of the week. You trust the Yankees in a big spot? You trust that bullpen in a big spot? They got the weight of the world on their shoulders, Ian, once they get into the playoffs. And once they're in that tight spot, I don't think it's going to work out very well for them. It hasn't in playoffs past. You see Giancarlo Stanton standing there with the bat on his shoulder, watching 3 strikes groove break down to the middle to send them packing last year. So, this is still a very young team, the Blue Jays. I think the goal this season was to get into the playoffs and hopefully make a little bit of noise. As a fan of the team, if they can get into the playoffs, which they fully should do,
you would win
a series, that's a win for me, Ian, if they can win a series. This is still a very young team, like I said. So, baby steps. But, get into the playoffs and have a little bit of success. I'll be happy with that.
I will say, I just looked at the schedule here. Jays still got 3 more games against the Yankees. So, win a couple games leading up to that, sweep the series. Who knows? And in Toronto,
Stranger things have happened.
Stranger things have happened. Crumbling. Do they have the rotation to potentially make a run? You said, let's make the playoffs. Let's go from there. I personally, as much as I hate to say it, I don't even think they're worth a bet to win the World Series at 15-1 right now. Not at that price. What are your thoughts?
No, I mean, I like Gausman. I think Stripling, who's going tonight, is very underrated. Jose Barrios has been a tremendous disappointment. You trust him in a big spot at Yankee Stadium? Absolutely not. So no, not really. I mean, it could be one of these situations where the bullpen's all right for the Blue Jays, right? Like you see these teams in the playoffs, they try to shorten the games a little bit with specific starters. They might let them go 2 times through the rotation. Maybe you do that with a couple of these guys, and you hope that the Gosmans of the world can give you some big innings and not be damaged too much. But, the starting rotation among the other playoff teams, it's not very pretty, to be completely fair.
Yeah, I don't think, talking World Series, I don't think the World Series odds have value 15-1 behind. It's kind of like the top teams on the list. And then, well, how about Yankees 6-1? What a joke.
That's going to be a liability thing, Ian, because if you think about the teams, like, okay, how have you done since the All-Star break? The Yankees have absolutely stunk.
Yes.
Garrett Cole has stunk in the playoffs as well. He's been a tremendous disappointment. He's not worth all that money. Of course, you can't knock Aaron Judge at all. He's been absolutely fantastic. Good for him in that contract year. Hopefully he sticks it to the Yankees and signs with another team. How funny would that be? That'd be the Yankees can't let that happen. They're absolutely screwed. But yeah, I think the odds are fair for Toronto. But as we know, Ian, just like in the NHL, it's not always the best team on paper that ends up winning this thing, right? Often the NBA, you can be like, okay, it's going to be this team versus this team. And there's pretty good parity this past season, to be fair. But yeah, in baseball, it's not always the best team on paper. It's not always the team that wins the regular season.
So then who is the best value bet on the board right now to win the World Series?
I would say it's the Philadelphia Phillies at 36-1. Listen, they're going to have 2 studs at the top of their rotation. Aaron Nola, a bit up and down, but more up than down. He's a guy I would consider an ace. Zach Wheeler has been really good for them as well. He's set to rejoin the rotation here later on this month, so he should be ready for the playoffs. So having 2 guys like that at the top of the rotation, that's pretty good. That's better than what the Blue Jays have, right? And you saw what the Braves at the top of their rotation, they had Max Fried and Charlie Morton, and they rode those guys all the way to a World Series championship. So for the Phillies, the offense is pretty good too. Bryce Harper's there. I would say when they play at home, they will have a home field advantage, which I do think is important once you get into the playoffs. So yeah, I would take a shot on the Phillies. I could see them following a similar blueprint to the Braves. Not a lot of people were picking the Braves last season when the playoffs started, right? And they kind of came out of nowheres a little bit. And I wouldn't say shock the world, but upset the world maybe. So yeah, the Phillies at 36-1. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, I just looked it up while you were talking. If you were talking about hot offenses late, Philly's second in OPS this month. Obviously, small sample size, just 2 weeks. But if they keep that up, there could be a little bit of a dark horse for sure. Really quick, Joe, do you have a pick for Jay's game tonight, though?
Yes, let's go with a quick prop. I've only been doing pitcher props here lately because that's what's been working out for me. I like Drew Rasmussen to go under 4.5 strikeouts, -130. So he's faced the Jays 3 times this season, in totals of 3, 2, and 1 strikeouts in each of those games. And Toronto not striking out a lot, the 3rd lowest strikeout percentage versus righties over the last month. Now, Rasmussen, you'll look at his recent game logs, and you're going to see some big strikeout totals. Those seem like outliers to me. If you look at the bigger sample size, not a big strikeout guy. So I like him to go under 4.5 strikeouts.
You spoiled my pick for later in the Joe show. That was one of my picks later on. You stole it from me.
Basically, you got to find something else, right? You should have communicated with me beforehand, Ian. We could have planned this out a little bit better.
I got 5 minutes, so I'll see if I'll come up with another pick. No, but there we go. So we both agree with that pick in the Jays game tonight. I love it quite a bit. Let's switch sports over to the Dolphins. You got a Dolphins helmet in the background. You got a Dolphins hat on. They won NFL. They won the first NFL game of the season against the Patriots. They play the Ravens this week. Week 1 reaction. Did you like what you saw in the Mike McDaniel era?
I did. And this season, there's some emotion involved, Dean, because there's hope for this team, right? I'm a little optimistic about the Dolphins. Usually as a Dolphins fan, it's a pretty difficult existence. You get to the midpoint of the season and you're hoping they lose so that they can get a better draft pick. But that's not the case this season. So like I said, there was emotion involved, and, I kind of removed the betting from it, although I was on the under in that game and it did hit. But
same.
I just wanted a win. I just wanted the W. They were favored in that game. It's a game that they should win versus a discombobulated Patriots team. It looks like the wheels might be starting to fall off just a little bit. I'm not going to say the sky is falling just yet, but they got the win. So I was happy with that. And there was also a little bit of promise in this game. So lots of shades of the Dolphins from last year, which isn't totally a bad thing because last year was something to build off of. They still finished above 500, right? But they couldn't sneak into the playoffs. But there was some promise. We saw that big balls play call by Mike McDaniel at the end of the first half. Tua to Waddle, that big playability. That's something the Miami Dolphins did not have last year. So we got a little bit of promise with that. And I think that they really utilized Tyreek well in the game. The defense made some big plays, some serious turnovers in that game, Ian. There's forced turnovers and there's lucky turnovers. I would say at least 2 of those 3 were forced high-quality turnovers for the Dolphins. Now, if you want to nitpick, Tua got lucky on 2 plays where he was very close to having some very, very ugly turnovers. And, whenever Tua has a turnover, the internet wants to pick the guy apart. He's a total punching bag. So he got lucky on 2 plays there. Otherwise, he was accurate, and he did all right. And some of the play calling in the second half where I thought the Dolphins should have been trying to run clock and they're passing on first down, you can nitpick that a little bit. But at the end of the day, they held the Patriots to 7 points. They won the game. They covered the spread. So a great start to the season.
So they went from favorites against the Patriots. They're now underdogs, but the line has kind of shifted in their favor. Open 4.5-point underdogs, now 3.5-point underdogs to the Ravens. Do they have a chance to start the season 2-0?
I think so, Ian. I bet that at 4.5 on Sunday night. Now, like you said, down to 3.5, which I still don't mind. I especially like Miami on a teaser. If you get them up to plus 9.5, I think that's a decent look here for week 2. But let's recall what happened last season when the Ravens roll into Miami on a Thursday night and the Dolphins upset them. They beat them 22-10. They held them to 10 points. They held them to 4.3 yards per play. Lamar wasn't able to do anything spectacular in that game. And like I said, I think Miami's defense can keep this close for them, right? Keep it inside of 3 points at least. So I do like them to cover. A bit of an underwhelming performance, I think, from the Ravens in week 1 against the Jets. Like if you look at the final score, you might assume, oh my God, they completely destroyed them. But I don't even think they ran the ball for 70 yards in that game. So, the final score looked pretty good. Something to keep in mind about Miami, and going back to last season, they're 9-1 in their last 10 games now. So they are on a serious roll. And about that defense, now the offense is completely new for this year, but those defense, they retained the defensive coaches who were on Brian Flores' staff there last season. And like I said, that is the team that really limited this Ravens team last season on that Thursday night game. So, yeah, I like the Dolphins to cover. I won't be shocked if they get the W. I'll be ecstatic if they can get that W.
Yeah, I think if memory serves, I think that was the start of the demise of the Ravens last year. I think that kind of started a bad little run for the Ravens last season against the Dolphins.
Yeah, the wheels fell off.
Let's finish off with Thursday night football.
Yes.
Tomorrow night, if my days are correct, everything's a blur when we hit NFL season. But we got Chargers, we got Chiefs. Chiefs, 4.5-point favorites, total up to 54.5. What is your best bet for Thursday night football?
So I went into this handicapping when I saw the line. I think the line opened at 3.5, and I was fully prepared to, start looking into that game and just say, okay, I'm going to pick the Kansas City Chiefs, an absolute dynamo. We saw what they did in week 1. But then I dug into it a little bit more, and by that time, the spread had moved to plus 4.5. I like the Chargers as a plus 4.5-point underdog here. So the Justin Herbert era, Ian, this matchup is 2-2. Now, to be completely fair, one of those Chargers wins. Both of them were in Kansas City. One of them was against backups in 2020. It was a Week 17 game, but still getting into a bit of a habit of going into Kansas City and winning games. Those 2 losses versus the Chiefs were both games that went into overtime. One of those was a 3-point loss. So what can we take away from week 1 for the Chargers? Well, great protection for Justin Herbert. He didn't get sacked once. So I think that this team can hang out if there's a shootout in this game. Now, both great teams, but I do think the Chargers have a better defense. J.C. Jackson is said to be moving in the right direction, trending towards playing in this one. Now, the big injury that's going to get all the headlines is, hey, Keenan Allen is going to be out of this game for the Chargers. Absolutely, they'll miss him. Kansas City missing a couple guys, too. Their starting kicker is going to be out of this game. Now, some people might scoff at that, but how important of a role did kicking play in week 1 of the season, right? So a game that could come down to one kick, and they're going to have their backup kicker. Also, another one that will fly under the radar, Trent McDuffie, starting cornerback. They picked him in the first round. He was playing pretty good in Arizona. He's out of this game, too. So maybe that evens things out a little bit, especially if J.C. Jackson can get into this game. So, yeah, I like the Chargers to keep this game tight. I think it's a field goal game. I like them at plus 4.5 quite a bit.
Joe on the Chargers plus 4.5 tomorrow night. Thank you so much for joining, Joe. Really quick, how do you feel about guys who work out while wearing jeans? Big fan of those guys or no?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you do not mess with a guy at the gym who is wearing jeans, because I will tell you why. That is a prison workout gear. It is very likely that individual is fresh out of prison. They don't have proper gym clothes, so do not mess with a guy who is lifting weights and wearing jeans.
There you have it. Joe Osborne, a Vegas insider. I do a show with him Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern. So I'll talk to you again tomorrow morning, Joe. Thank you for coming on. Any final words?
Guys, if you're looking to make a serious change in your life, if you're looking to lose a bit of weight, have a bit more energy, I strongly recommend switching from white hot dog buns to whole wheat. It will totally change your life and your outlook on everything.
I agree. Thank you so much for joining, Joe. Next up, Donnavan Smoot will be joining me. We'll be giving out our best bets for tonight. We're also going to talk game of the night as well, which is the Milwaukee Brewers against the St. Louis Cardinals. So I think we can bring in Donnavan there as Donnavan Smoot. Hello, my friend. Thank you for joining me.
What's up? What's going on?
Not much. You have a very opposite outfit as what Joe was just wearing. So
I know. I have heavy sleeves, and he didn't have sleeves at all. So
Joe looked like he was just at the beach. You look like you're ready for winter.
Yeah,
very good.
My favorite season.
I love it. All right, we got picks for tonight. We got 3. I got what do I have here? I got 2 Major League Baseball. I'm also going to give out my best bet to win the Fortinet Championship because the PGA Tour season is back. And Donnavan, you have 3 MLB bets, and then we will both get into the game of the night, Brewers Cardinals, and we will have a bet for that. We also have community picks, though, so we're going to get to those first as usual. If you haven't voted in the poll for the community pick for the game of the night, do that. There should be one poll on YouTube, one on Twitter as well. So go ahead and vote on that. But let's get into some community picks for the MLB slate. And I actually think we have a couple other sports as well. So let's bring up the first pick. Here's one of the other sports I was referring to. Michael Malter is giving us a tennis pick. Dennis Kudla against Emilio Nava under 22.5 games. How about that? The U.S. Open is over, but he's still giving out tennis picks. It is for, I had to look this up. I didn't even know what tennis event was going on. The Challenger Carry, Carry.
Yeah.
Do you have any knowledge about this, Donnavan?
I've heard of it, but I actually forgot that it was going on. After the U.S. Open ended, I kind of switched over. I'm kind of like in football mode right now, so I had to do a little bit of research on this one as well. I kind of like the pick though. I kind of like the pick because both Kudla and Nava, they both went under this line in their first match on it. Their first serves were working for them in their match, and so listen, if we're going to see a little bit of dominance from any one of them, it might be Nava. He was winning 72% of his first serves and getting a point on nearly 3/4 of those. So his serve might be dominant today. I can see this one being a fairly quick match.
Oh, there you go. Donnavan coming in with some notes with this pick. I'm glad you did because I certainly had nothing to say about this matchup. Like I didn't even know tennis was happening. I thought maybe they took a break after the U.S. Open. Apparently they don't. So if you want to bet on tennis, there's a pick from Michael Malter. Let's bring up the next community pick. Cody Wells with his classic Cody Wells total bases prop bet that he loves to bet on. He's on Eduardo Escobar over 1.5 total bases at plus 130 tonight. He says Escobar is 7 for 12, batting .583, slugging .1667 with a double and 4 home runs against Smiley. He is also hitting .419 with a 1.296 OPS in September. Prior to last night's hitless performance, he had 3 consecutive multi-hit games, maybe sprinkle home run at plus 380 as well. So Eduardo Escobar, and like I always say, I love it when people write in a little write-up with their picks. Cody Wells certainly does that because it makes our job easier. I have no further notes, Cody. So that will be Mets against Cubs tonight, 7:10 p.m. Eastern. Do you have anything to add to that, Donovan, or did he cover it there for us?
He kind of covered everything for us. And I mean, I have a pick on this game later in the show, so we'll wait until then to keep talking, Cubs and Mets.
Beautiful. So there you go. Best of luck with your plus money prop there, Cody. Let's bring up the third community pick for tonight. Sean Mitchelson. Another guy who loves to send in write-ups with his picks, which we appreciate. He's on Twins, and he loves the first 5 innings. Cody does the total bases props. Sean Mitchelson loves first 5 innings bets. Twins minus 0.5, first 5 innings, minus 130. Gray versus Greinke. Gray has a 2.45 ERA since August 1st and has given up 1 earned run in 12 innings pitched versus Kansas City. Greinke, road ERA of 6.33 and given up 9 runs in 15 innings pitched against the Twins. First 5 inning run line.
Yeah, I'm with it. I think the Twins actually covered the entire game at plus 105. So if you want to take them early on in the game, especially when Greinke's still going to be in there, I have no problem with that.
There you go. And then we have one more final community pick, and this is a daily bet slip first for a community pick. Let's bring up the final one. SSG Landers against the NC Dinos, first 5 under 4.5 from Matt M at Indy Mofro. A little KBO action for the people. If you don't know, KBO stands for Korean Baseball, Donovan. KBO was a largely bet on sport. People started watching and betting on it back in the COVID era in 2020. It was one of the first sports to come back, was Korean baseball. So I certainly don't have anything to add to that pick. Donovan, I know you certainly don't have anything to add to that pick. Nope. But hey, if you want to sweat out a bet at like 4 a.m. tomorrow morning, you got SSG Landers against the NC Dinos. First 5 under 4.5. Go Dinos.
Yeah. Listen, he likes it. I love it. He likes it. I love it.
All right, perfect. That's it. I just wanted to bring it up. Yes, Ben chimed in. This is exactly my point here. This is the most international bet slip we've ever done. 3 countries represented today. So there you go. I love it. Korean baseball. Certainly the first Korean baseball pick ever given out on the show. So congrats to Indy Mofro for getting that designation. Let's get into our best bets for tonight, Donovan. Like I said earlier, we got 5 coming up. You got 3 MLB picks. I got 2 MLB picks and a pick for the Fortinet Championship, not to be confused with the Fortnite Championship.
That's what I thought it was. When you first sent this in, I legit thought it was. I thought the Fortnite Championships were going on. I thought you had an esports play.
I did handicap the first ever Fortnite World Cup about 2 or 3 years ago. When I was really into Fortnite when it first came out. They had a World Cup. I bet on it and lost money. So I've never bet on esports ever again. So this is not the Fortnite World Cup. This is the Fortinet Championship. I'll give out my pick on that in a few minutes. But Donovan, why don't you start us off? What is your first MLB play for tonight?
Yeah, my first play, I'm going to that Cubs-Mets game. I'm taking the Mets on the run line, plus 110. And this is very surprising because the Cubs have actually they're low-key dominating this series. They won the first 2 games in this matchup. But I think that the Mets are finally going to get revenge tonight. I think that they're going to bounce back in a very big way. New York is 33-20 on the run line following the loss this season. They're 38-15 straight up following the loss, so they know how to bounce back. The Cubs, listen, they've done their job. They've won 2 straight games. We all know that they are not better than the Mets. They're 27-32 straight up after a win, so I'm expecting a loss. I'm expecting the Mets to come in and play a lot better. So I'll take New York on the run line with a little bit of plus money on it.
There you go. Plus money play to get things started off. Mets minus 1.5 against the Cubs. My first pick is one that was already given out on the show. Joe gave this exact same pick, and we got the exact same points. Drew Rasmussen under 4.5 strikeouts against mine and Joe's Toronto Blue Jays tonight. I guess I can just repeat the exact same points. They strike out only 20.5% of the time against right-handed pitchers. Drew Rasmussen has played against the Blue Jays three times this season. He recorded 1 strikeout in 5.2 innings in the first start, 2 strikeouts in 4.2 innings in his second start, and then in his third start against the Jays, only 3 strikeouts in 6.0 innings. So I love this bet tonight. I won't continue to repeat the exact same points that Joe made, but me and him both are on this pick tonight. Drew Rasmussen under 4.5 strikeouts, -134. Donovan, what is your next MLB play for tonight?
Yeah, my next one, I'm gonna stay in New York. I'm taking Nestor Cortez over 4.5 strikeouts, -128. And so for Cortez, I kind of like this. He's been up and down, right? But he's been fairly good. And if we're talking about away stats, right? So he's 5-3 on the road. His ERA is at 3.15, and he's hit this mark. He's been fairly consistent. He's hit it in about 3 of his last 6 starts. And so I think when you're talking about Cortez being fairly average against this line, playing a Red Sox team that over the last 3 games is in the bottom 10 in the MLB in strikeouts per game, you have a situation where I think Cortez this is a spot where you can kind of buy low on Cortez because he did miss it in his last start. So I will take the over on Cortez tonight.
Nestor Cortez over 4.5 strikeouts locked in for Donovan. My second Major League Baseball play today, sticking to that same game. But I'm just going to go ahead and fade the Yankees. Red Sox +110 against the Yankees. They're a bunch of bums. How many times do I got to say it? Since August 1st, 26th in batting average. Red Sox are 3rd. Since August 1st, 25th in OPS. Red Sox are 6th. Also, Nestor Cortez, you did just mention him, Donovan. He did get lit up last time he played against the Red Sox this season. 8 hits, 2 walks, and 4 earned runs in just 3.2 innings pitched. So I'm hoping, I hope he gets some strikeouts tonight, but I do hope the Red Sox can get some runs off him. But the Yankees have not been playing well enough these past couple of months to be favored against anyone on the road. Well, maybe a few teams, but not the Red Sox. I'll take the Red Sox at home +110 tonight as the Blue Jays inch closer to the top of the AL East. Donovan, you got one more MLB play before we talk game of the night. What's your final one of your top 3?
Yeah, I'm going with the Orioles and Nationals over 8.5 runs today. The Orioles, this is a spot. Listen, and look, the last 2 times I've bet on the Orioles, they have lost for me, and so I'm not betting on them right now. I'm going to pick the total in this one because the Orioles, they're 2-8 against the run line in their last 10 games. They're 4-6 straight up in that span. So I don't trust them right now. I certainly don't want to bet on the Nationals to win a game, so I'm not going to do that. So that's why I'm sticking to the over, because you have Tyler Wells and Patrick Corbin on the mound today, and Wells has given up 3.2 runs per start over his last, I think, 3 starts. And then Patrick Corbin, who is one of the worst starting pitchers in Major League Baseball, has a 6-18 record, 6.30 ERA. Listen, you have 2 terrible pitchers on the mound today. I'm expecting for both of them to do what they normally do and give up runs. And so I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take the over on 8.5 runs in this one and stay away from either one of the sides.
I will say one of the BetSided community members did give in this pick. We didn't bring it up when we talked about community picks, but Joey Melks at Don Leshes is also on for Orioles Nationals. So Joey Melks, you and Joey Melks both on this bet.
Yeah, he knows ball. Let's go, Joey Melks. Yeah.
Hey, he's a Joe. Maybe I'll get him on as the next guest on the show to keep the trend of Joes going. All right, my final pick. We're switching to the sport of golf. It has been a long offseason for the PGA Tour. An entire 2.5 week long offseason is finally over, Donovan. PGA Tour season starts up tomorrow for the next year minus 2.5 weeks. For the winner of the 410 Net Championship, It's going to be a square play, but I'm going to take Max Homa, who won it last year, and he is the betting favorite. Taking the favorite and the defending champion, super square, but there's a reason why he won this tournament last year, and it's because you have to have a strong wedge game at Silverado Country Club. Most of your approaches are going to be within 50 to 125 yards, and that is Max Homa's biggest strength. In fact, last year he ranked 12th on the PGA Tour in approach proximity from 50 to 125 yards. And this is a very weak field. There's a reason why Max Homa is the favorite. There's very few big names in this event. So just on talent and skill alone, he should be able to separate himself from the pack once again. And he still does continue to be one of the more underrated golfers on tour because, yeah, he's the favorite, but he's still 14-1. I don't think those odds are fair for a guy who, like I said, underrated. He had a very good appearance at the Tour Championship there, the season finale a couple weeks ago. Where I think he might have finished with the lowest gross score in the tournament. So Max Homa to defend his Fortinet championship title, 14-1.
That's crazy. Honestly, listen, I trust you on golf. The thing that's still blowing my mind is that you have a 3-week off season, and like I understand it's golf. It's not like the NFL, right? But 3 weeks, you can't get a month.
No,
you can't get a month.
To be fair, I think that is a change the PGA Tour is in the middle of implementing, but they couldn't implement it until next offseason. Okay. So this time they still had to go with a 2.5 week long offseason, which is crazy.
That's very crazy. No family time for these guys.
No, well, I mean, they don't have to play. Like I said, most of the top guys don't play in these tournaments. But the guys who are like on the borderline of having a PGA Tour card, they have to because they have to take advantage of these events where the top guys aren't playing. So there you have it. Fortinet Championship tees off tomorrow morning in, I believe, Arizona. I believe is where this takes place. So there we go. I think, do we have a recap graphic? Let's bring up the recap graphic if we do. These are our best bets for tonight. I'm on under 4.5 strikeouts for Drew Rasmussen. Red Sox plus 110 against the bunch of bums called the Yankees, and then Max Homa to win the Fortinet championship at 14-1. Donovan, you're on the Mets minus 1.5 against the Cubs, over 4.5. Nestor Cortez strikeouts, and then over 8.5 on the total between the Orioles and the Nationals, which leaves us one last thing to talk about, and it is the game of the night. It is the Milwaukee Brewers. It is the St. Louis Cardinals. The Brewers sitting a couple games out of the wild card spot. The Cardinals becoming kind of a dark horse pick in Major League Baseball to win it all. They've been hot lately, sit atop the NL Central. Donovan, what's your best bet for the game of the night?
I'm going with the underdog. I'm going with the hot pick. I'm going with the Cardinals to win this. I think they beat the Brewers. There's a couple things that are rolling in their favor. One, Adam Wainwright is on the mound, and even though that like on the season you look at his stats and they're not dazzling. He's 10-9 overall, has a 3.33 ERA. But when you look at his home splits, that 10-9 record goes to 6-3, and then his ERA drops down to 2.65. So he's a much better pitcher at home than he is on the road. So I think that the Cardinals will have enough pitching to go up against Corbin Burns. So there's one. Two, if you look at this matchup, on the run line, St. Louis is 10-6 against Milwaukee this season. They're 8-8 straight up. So they always keep it close. They are tied in terms of wins. So why not take the underdog in what's up until this point has been a 50-50 shot? And listen, Albert Pujols he's out here and he's doing his thing. And listen, if you believe in like the angels in the outfield type of stuff, and there's just a vibe going on with Albert Pujols, so I'm gonna back him down the stretch of his final regular season career. I'll take the Cardinals tonight.
I will say about Albert Pujols, and I found this odds, I believe, on FanDuel earlier today, whether or not he's going to hit the 700 home runs, and it was favored. Can't find the odds right in front of me, but I think it was like minus 160 or something. So. What people thought seemed like it was going to be about impossible at the All-Star break, he has got hot with his bat, and now it is not only possible but probable that he hits that 700 home run mark. Donovan, good news for you. The BetSided community poll is on our side. The results are in there, also on the Cardinals. Bad news, or I guess it could be good news, depending on if you trust my picks. I'm on the opposite side. I'm opposite both you and the BetSided community. So apologies here while I explain why you are wrong. I'm going to take the Brewers.
Tell me why I'm wrong.
I'm going to take the Brewers, road favorites here, minus 125, because I'm just going to follow the same simple strategy that I followed the entire season when it comes to the Milwaukee Brewers. If they're taking on a left-handed pitcher, you bet against them. When they're taking on a right-handed pitcher, you bet on them. They have an OPS of 663 against lefties that goes all the way up to 752 against righties. That is a massive difference. And this is not just a season-long thing either. This is a recent phenomenon as well. Just this month, an OPS of 643 against lefties, up to 702 against righties. And this is proven when you look at Adam Wainwright's starts against this team. He has a 4.70 ERA against the Brewers and 4 starts against them this season. Meanwhile, Corbin Burns against his Cardinals team in 3 starts against them, 0.43 ERA. In my opinion, this is a no-brainer. Also, Cardinals' second worst bullpen ERA in the month of September at 6.38. Small sample size, to be fair, only about 2 weeks of games, but still, their bullpen certainly trending in the wrong direction. Donovan, I'm on the opposite side. I'm sorry to tell you, my friend. Brewers, minus 125 tonight.
We just can't seem to agree. We're so close. We were so close, Ian. It is okay. It's okay. We'll listen. Next time we'll come back. We will see who won this match, and hopefully we can agree next time. And you, me, and the community can all just be one happy betting family.
Perfect, beautiful. I like that plan. I will remember next time when I have you on the show. I'll remember the results tonight. I'll bring it up unless I lose. And if the Cardinals win, then I'm just going to forget this game ever happened. So there you have it. That was today's episode of Daily Bet Slip. My interview with Rex Ryan is live. Check that out as soon as we close here. Talk to him about a lot of things, his coaching career, what he thinks about the Bills, Donovan, but you would like his dark horse pick to win the Super Bowl. Spoiler alert, it's your Eagles. Talked about the Maple Leafs. He is a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. And most importantly, I talked to him about feet. He's a big foot guy. I don't know if you heard about that, Donovan.
I knew. I knew.
So check that interview out. Also, the college football week 3 episode of the early read is live. That went out yesterday. So check that out for your college football picks. Daily Bet Slip will be back tomorrow to talk. And a Thursday night football. I got Joe Osborne's Thursday night football pick today. I'll be giving mine out tomorrow. I'll be joined by Peter Dewey as we get ready for what should be one of the best Thursday night football games of the season between the Chargers and the Chiefs. So, final thoughts, Donovan.
Chiefs win tomorrow, and they cover.
There you go. You won't be on the show. It's just me and Peter, so there you go.
Yep.
Donovan on the Chiefs to win and cover tomorrow, opposite of Joe Osborne. You just can't agree with anyone.
It's a curse. Or a gift. Who knows?
Who knows? All right. Thank you all for watching this on YouTube. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you so much. Gamble or bless. I'll talk to you tomorrow.